Hi, I'm David Holt. You know, when most people think of the blues, they probably think of the Mississippi Delta and hard-driving artists like Robert Johnson and Charlie Patton. But in the Southeast, a different style of blues developed, sometimes called the Piedmont blues. It had a melodic, lilting, almost ragtimey feel, like what I was playing a moment ago. Now, there were some great artists in the heyday of the blues in the 1920s and 30s, guys like Blind Blake and Blind Boy Fuller. They set the standard for this style of guitar playing. Now, in this show, we're going to meet some people who grew up with this style of music and still play Piedmont blues today. Etta Baker of Caldwell County, North Carolina, has been playing guitar for more than 80 years and shows no signs of slowing down in the future. Etta's soft, melodic sound offers us a glimpse back into the pre-blues styles that would have been popular in African American communities before the turn of the century. It wasn't until the early 1900s that these styles evolved into what we now call Piedmont blues. That's beautiful. Now, where did you learn that tune, Etta?
Learned that from my daddy.
In fact, you learned to play the guitar from your daddy, didn't you?
Right.
How old were you when you started?
I was 3.
3?
3 years old, and I can do the 3 basic chords.
Is that right?
On a little tiny guitar.
Uh-huh. And your dad would teach you this?
He's the only teacher I ever had.
Did he play in this style?
Yes, he did.
Now, when you were young and taking a tune like Carolina Breakdown, would that have been played at a party? Would that have been played just around the home? When would that have been
At
played?
entertainments. And a lot of the people around would have Saturday night fish fries and dances.
And they would dance to this music?
Oh, yeah.
And it could be loud enough even though you had an acoustic guitar?
Right.
If that was the first blues that your dad ever heard, then what would he consider something like Railroad Bill?
That was country.
That was
Call
country?
that country.
This is not what most people would consider blues, and as you said, your dad called it country music. But you do play some what people would call more standard modern blues. Play one of those. On the Other Hand, Baby, or... Let's talk about how you play. You use 3 fingers or 2 fingers?
2.
Just your thumb and your index finger. So play a little bit more and let's look at that closely. The bass note is being kept by the thumb and the melody is played by the index finger. And that, I'm assuming that's the way your dad played too.
Yeah.
Did you ever see anyone use a flat pick? Use a pick when you were young? Everybody played this way.
Sure did.
Actually, were there many other people besides your dad in the community where you grew up that played like this?
Just about everybody in the same little section, you know, had about the same style.
You were at the World's Fair in Knoxville, and you made up a song. Tell us how that came about.
Well, when I hear music constantly, I don't sleep real sound, and I kept hearing these different chords. And 2:45, I got up and went out on this porch and sit out there. It was nice and quiet, and I put the chords together. And I went over the next morning, and I told them I had a brand new song, and I didn't have no name for it. And so they said, play it and we'll name it. And they named it the Knoxville Rag.
The audience named it.
Right.
Now this is called slide guitar playing. And tell me how you learned about it.
Well, I saw my dad break a bottle. He filed a little gray ring around the bottle, and then he just hit it and snapped it off. Then he would dull it on another rock, turning it around, and then he got it to where he felt like it wasn't dangerous, you know, to use it to get cut, and so he started playing with a bottleneck. And then he would use his knife, pocket knife sometimes.
And you can use just a piece of pipe like this. Did he play many tunes in this style?
That's the only one I heard him play with the slide.
John Henry?
John
Oh, that's a
Henry.
great one. When people see this, they're going to think, oh, this lady's been a professional musician her whole life. But that's not the case, is it?
No.
You worked in, tell us what you used to do for a living.
Oh, I worked at Buster Brown Plant for 25 years.
Uh-huh. So you played music on the side.
Oh, yeah.
How did you have time with 9 kids?
I made them be quiet.
Careless Love is a song whose origins are hard to trace. It dates back to the late 1800s and has been a staple of both white and black musicians over the years. Etta's version is a good example of how the song was probably known in its original form. In Tarboro, North Carolina, the version performed by George Higgs reflects the influence of the blues on the song. Many musicians of George's generation first heard traditional songs like Careless Love through the recorded versions of professional bluesmen.
Well, love, oh, careless love. Love, oh, careless love. Love, oh, careless. See call you the wee, better call you the moan. Call you the wee, better call you the moan. Well, it'll call you the wee, better call you the moan. Call you to lose your happy. Yeah.
George, where'd you learn Careless Love?
Careless Love, well, I got that from Blind Boy, Blind Boy Fuller made it. Yeah.
You heard a recording of Blind Boy
Right.
Fuller. Did you ever see Blind Boy Fuller play in person?
Oh yeah, I was so small, but he came to Tarver once, and I think it was 40, I believe in the 40s. Whoa, baby, you don't have to go. Whoa, baby, you don't have to go. Well, I'll pack up, darling. Down the road I go. Well, I gave you all my money, let you go downtown. Came back in the evening and sun gone down. Oh, baby, what is wrong with you? Well, I know don't treat me like you used to
George, where'd you learn to play the harmonica?
do. Like that from my father. He played harmonica, and I thought it was pretty good. The first harmonica I played beside my dad, I heard was beside my dad was old fella called D. Ford Belly. He used to come on Grand Ole Opry.
Sure. Oh, yeah. One of the greats. Well, so your dad played harmonica.
Yeah.
And what were some of the kind of tunes he played?
Well, he played more old spiritual song mostly, and try and hold him unto the Lord.
What did a harp cost in those days when you were a kid?
I think when my first harmonica he gave me, I think it was 20 cents, I believe. 20 cents.
And it's $20 now.
$8, $20 now. The same harp.
Same harp, that's
Same
right.
harp, yeah.
What's the first song you ever learned, George?
The first song I ever learned to blow for myself was, I believe, Old Black Joe.
Can you play a little of that?
Yeah. It's been so long, I about forgot it.
Yeah, it's been a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But my first blues song was the one where my father played so much. I had to learn that song about if you mistreat me, baby, after I've been good to you. And I just love that song.
Play a little bit of that one.
If you mistreat me, baby, I've been good to you, Lord, Lord. Well, now, haven't I been good to you? Well, now, haven't I been good? Have I been good to you?
So you grew up on a farm in Speed, North Carolina,
Right.
and I assume that's a very little place.
Oh, yeah. That's what they call slow down with a fast name.
Slow down with a fast name. I like that. Speed.
Speed, yeah.
Well, so you farmed yourself after your dad passed away.
Right, right.
And what did you farm?
Cotton, peanuts, corn, a few soybeans.
Now let's go back to when you were a little boy growing up in Speed. Did you hear music? Did you hear much music at that time?
Yeah. Well, mostly what we hear music from, at house parties. And, the old folks get together, get around them old fruit jar or corn liquor, and they would sing. Want to see my show? Want to see my show? I want to drive me. I want to drive me downtown. He can drive so easy. I can't turn him. I can't turn him down.
George Higgs' music is an example of the loose, down-home sound, which is the country blues. However, in the years after World War II, the sound of the music began to change, partly because of the appearance of the electric guitar. During the Great Depression, many African Americans had moved from the farms into the cities in search of work. Durham, North Carolina, was the home of a black college and many successful black-owned businesses. It became home to a vibrant African American population. Because of the roads and railroads, people could travel more. That, along with radio and phonograph records, made it easier for people to hear a wide variety of music. In cities like Durham, country blues players began to hear the new electrified blues that was becoming a popular style of music. And that had a big influence on the development of the modern urban blues after World War II. John D. Holman of Durham has been playing in this more modern style since the 40s. We recently got together at a diner in downtown Durham.
Come on down, my house, baby. There's nobody home. Come on down to my house, baby. Nobody home but me. I take a little bread and fry a little meat. Then you can sleep in the bed with me. I said, come on down to my house, baby. There's nobody home but me.
Come on down to my house. That's a great old Blind Boy Fuller tune.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Now, you grew up out in the country, but occasionally, back in the 30s, you and your family would come into town to sell tobacco, and that's where you would see some of these fellas.
My daddy would bring me to town with him whilst he was selling that tobacco. Sometimes we'd stay about all day, and then entertainment would be Blind Boy Fuller and Gary and all of them. But I was small. I didn't get a good look at them because I was a kid. They much taller than me, so I have to peep through the crowd to try to see them,
You learned a lot of your music off records. Who were some of your favorite recording artists back in those days?
Well, I liked the Blind Boy Fuller, and I liked the Lightning Hopkins, and also Brown and McGee and Sonny Terry. I liked them right well.
Yeah, they were great. And of course, Blind Boy influenced so many people around the South,
Oh, yeah.
particularly North Carolina.
Yeah.
Now, he played a lot of things like that ragtime tune that we were just playing, but he also played, he was back in the 1930s, so he was kind of that transition between that ragtime blues and
Oh yeah,
the
he
more
had a lot of
urban blues.
slow
Yeah.
type blues. Some people would call them the down home blues. Much slower than that ragtime beat. So
Why don't you play us one of those? Maybe that letter blues or something like that.
okay, he did this. I got a letter early this morning. This is the way my letter read. I got a letter early this morning. This is the way my letter read. He said, come on home, blind boy. You tell me your little baby's dead. He said, ain't alright. I believe I'll go myself. Ain't gonna ride. I believe I'll go myself. I felt a letter might be too short. I'm afraid a telegram might get left. I say, hey, Bon, I'm coming on home to you.
You're kind of an interesting example of the blues because you grew up in the country, you learned from some of these records, but you had family that played.
That's correct.
And then when you came to move to Durham, which was in the 50s, right?
From 1954.
You started hearing a more modern kind of music, and
Yes, I really did. Something like Chuck Berry plays, similar rock and roll, you know,
Yeah,
back then, 50 years.
well, Lightning Hobson is a good example. In fact, you met Lightning
Yeah, I
Hobson.
met Lightning, so I opened the show for him once. I got to see him one time, so I liked his style.
Well, why don't you play us one of those? Because that's definitely more modern than the old Blind Boy Fuller stuff.
Give me back that wig I bought you, baby. Gotta let your doggone head go bald. Give me back that wig I bought you, please, ma'am. Gotta let your doggone head go bald. Yes, when I come to find out early this morning, baby, you didn't need no hair at all. You know that woman, she tried to quit me. I ain't done nothing wrong. She threw me out of doors. I ain't got another home. Give me back my wig I bought you. Gotta let your doggone head go bald. Yes, when I come to find out early this morning, baby, you didn't need no hair at all.
You made your living as a heavy equipment operator, right?
Yes, I did.
You're a good enough musician to make a living playing music, but where did you play your music if you weren't doing it for a living?
Well, I was playing around like at night at Sammy's shop, Shoe Shine Stand. It's a little building uptown here that they shine shoes in. So he got us there to entertain whilst we were shining shoes there a couple hours about every night.
House parties too?
And also house party. I did a few of those. And like birthday and pig picking. I did a few of those.
Well, let's play one of those tunes you might have played at those situations.
Around downtown with Tom, Dick, and Hal. I won't play it pretty, baby. I want you to be my pal, big boss man. Can't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so be. You just talk, that's all.